You tell yourself it is nothing, just a fleeting moment, a quiet exchange that belongs to nobody, yet you feel the cold, heavy stone of guilt resting silently in the bottom of your stomach. You know exactly what I am talking about. Before we walk down into this quiet, hidden room of your mind, I invite you to subscribe to the Psyche Unfolding channel so we can explore these fragile spaces together. We are talking about the invisible lines we cross, the tiny, almost unnoticeable betrayals that slowly drain the life out of a relationship. It never starts with a dramatic collapse. A house does not fall all at once. It begins with a microscopic crack in the foundation, a tiny drop of water seeping through the roof, week after week, until the timber rots from the inside out. You look at your partner across the room, and there is a chasm between you, built entirely of small, unspoken moments that you gave to someone else. You rationalize it. You say to yourself that no rules were broken, no vows were shattered, and no physical boundaries were crossed. But you know the truth. You know that infidelity is not just a physical act. It is a slow turning away of the soul. Let us look at what you are actually doing in these hidden moments. We walk through an endless, invisible marketplace of attention. Even when you are sitting in the quiet of your own home, you can easily open a hidden door in your mind and invite 1,000 distant voices to whisper in your ear. You do not have to travel across an ocean to stray. You can simply cast your thoughts outward, seeking the gaze of strangers in the shadows. It is the lingering look. It is the private joke shared in hushed tones. It is the way your heart races just a little bit faster when a certain person enters the room. It is the careful curation of your appearance for an audience of one, someone who is not the person waiting for you at home. You are keeping a secret garden, a walled-off space where your partner is not allowed to enter. You feed this garden with small drops of attention, tiny breadcrumbs of intimacy. And while you tell yourself it is harmless, you are slowly starving the relationship you already have. Energy is like water. If you divert a river into 100 tiny streams, the main channel will eventually run dry. You are draining your own ocean, cup by cup. You feel the exhaustion of it, the constant vigilance, the careful erasing of your own tracks in the snow. You have to remember who knows what, which smile meant what, and how long a glance is allowed to linger before it becomes dangerous. It is exhausting, is it not? The weight of carrying these hollow little secrets is like walking with a heavy stone in your shoe. You pretend you are walking normally, but every step hurts. You feel isolated. Even when you are lying right next to the person who loves you, there is a ghost in the bed. A ghost made of split attention and fragmented desires. And what about the person sleeping beside you? They may not know the specifics, but the human heart is a highly sensitive instrument. They feel the draft. Imagine sitting in a warm room, and someone leaves a window open just a fraction of a millimeter. You cannot see the gap, but you feel the cold air creeping across the floor, chilling your bones. Your partner feels that cold air. They sense the invisible distance, the subtle withdrawal of your presence. They might ask you if everything is all right. And you smile, a perfectly constructed smile, and you say everything is fine. But in doing so, you are planting seeds of doubt in their mind. They begin to question their own intuition. They feel the empty space where your devotion used to reside, but because they cannot see a concrete reason for it, they begin to wonder if they are going crazy. This is the profound cruelty of divided attention. It is a silent theft. You are stealing the solid ground from beneath the feet of the person you promised to hold up. Why do we seek out these small fires when we have a warm hearth at home? I have watched this happen time and time again, and I can tell you it is rarely about the other person. The other person is just a mirror. When you have been with someone for a long time, they know your absolute truth. They have seen you sick. They have seen you tired. They have seen your failures and your ordinary, unglamorous days. Your partner holds the heavy, solid reality of who you are. But a stranger or an acquaintance or a colleague, they see only what you want them to see. When they look at you, you are new. You are mysterious. You are devoid of baggage. You are not seeking a new lover. You are seeking a new version of yourself. You are chasing the intoxicating illusion of a blank slate. It is like putting on a mask and attending a carnival. For a brief, dazzling moment, you get to escape the gravity of your real life. But masks are suffocating, and carnivals always end. You are trading the deep, nourishing root of a giant oak tree for a handful of cut flowers that will wither by tomorrow. This need for external validation is an endless, hungry void. It is a leaking bucket that can never be filled, no matter how many stolen glances or secret smiles you pour into it. You find yourself constantly waiting for the next tiny thrill, the next little hit of dopamine that comes from being desired by someone new. You become a prisoner to the opinions of strangers. You lose your own center. You forget how to generate your own warmth, relying instead on the cheap sparks thrown off by other people. This is not power. This is utter powerlessness. You are handing the keys to your emotional well, being over to ghosts, to people who have no real stake in your life, who will not be there to hold your hand when the storm inevitably comes. You must realize the cost of this divided heart. When you scatter your emotional energy into the wind, you are the one who becomes empty. You are not just cheating your partner out of your full presence. You are cheating yourself out of the profound, unshakable peace that comes from absolute integrity. Integrity is not about following a rigid set of moral laws imposed from the outside. Integrity is about being whole. It is about all the pieces of your soul facing the exact same direction. When your mind is wandering, when your attention is split, you are fractured. You are a stained glass window that has been shattered into pieces, trying to reflect light, but only casting jagged, confused shadows. The moment you understand this, the game loses its thrill. The lingering glances and the secret smiles suddenly feel cheap, like counterfeit coins rattling in your pocket. They have no real purchasing power in the economy of the human heart. You realize that you have been settling for crumbs when you could be sitting down to a feast. So how do we find our way back? How do we repair the invisible cracks in the foundation? It begins with the courage to close doors. You have to walk down the hallway of your mind and gently, firmly pull shut the doors you have left slightly ajar. You do not need to slam them in anger. You just need to close them, turn the key, and walk away. Imagine a cold, windy night. You have been standing outside in the bitter chill, holding your hands out to catch the faint warmth of a distant, dying ember. It is time to turn around. It is time to walk back inside the house you built. If you are finding a sense of peace in these words, I ask you to subscribe to the Psyche Unfolding so we can keep walking toward the light together. Inside your house, the fire might have burned down to the coals. It might need your attention. It might need you to kneel down and gently blow on the ashes, to add new wood, to tend to it with the care it deserves. But that fire is yours. It is real. It has the power to keep you warm through the longest, darkest winters of your life. Closing these doors is not a loss. It is a magnificent reclamation of your own power. When you stop bleeding your energy out into the world, it begins to pool back inside of you. You start to feel solid again. You start to feel real. The beauty of wholeheartedness is that it simplifies your existence. You no longer have to perform. You no longer have to hide. You can drop the exhausting act of being two different people. Imagine a tightly wound clockwork mechanism, thousands of tiny metal gears grinding against each other under immense pressure, threatening to snap at any second. That is what a divided life feels like. Now imagine the tension releasing, the gears slowing down, the quiet, steady, rhythmic ticking of a heart that knows exactly where it belongs. That is the peace of absolute fidelity. It is a quietness that settles deep in your bones. Think about the silence you share with your partner. When your mind is wandering, that silence feels heavy, awkward, and filled with the unspoken guilt of your secret garden. You feel the need to fill the air with empty words just to drown out the sound of your own divided conscience. But when you are fully present, when you have called all the scattered pieces of your soul back home, that shared silence transforms into something incredibly beautiful. It becomes a thick, warm blanket wrapped around the two of you. You do not need to perform. you do not need to entertain. But finally standing still, you can simply exist in the quiet room together, breathing the same air, entirely safe in the knowledge that there is nowhere else you would rather be, and no one else you would rather be with. This is the ultimate reward of absolute faithfulness. It is the deep, restorative rest that you have been secretly craving all along. You must look at the person who has chosen to walk this difficult path of life with you. Look at the lines on their face, the history you share, the thousands of days you have survived together. There is a sacred gravity in that shared history. It is a fortress that you have built stone by stone, meter by meter. Why would you compromise the walls of your own sanctuary for the fleeting smile of a passerby? Reinvest in your own soil. Water your own garden. When you bring all of your attention back to the center, something beautiful happens. The exhaustion fades. The vigilance disappears. You no longer have to guard your thoughts or watch your step. You can finally breathe. Imagine the feeling of taking off a heavy backpack filled with rocks, letting it fall to the floor, and standing up perfectly straight. That is the feeling of undivided loyalty. You look at your partner, and for the first time in a long time, you really see them. Not as a restriction, but as a sanctuary. You realize that true freedom is not found in endless choices or in the fleeting admiration of strangers. True freedom is found in making one choice, completely and absolutely, and letting go of all the others. You pour all your water back into the river, and suddenly the current is strong and deep again. You are whole. You are present. The silence between you and the one you love is no longer filled with the ghosts of divided attention. It is filled with peace. You can rest now. You have brought your heart back home.